All right. And I do apologize. I did start this Zoom late today because I was on a call with a business owner who was a little bit freaking out about some letters that they had received from the IRS. And that made me think, I don't know that I've really like talked to you guys about the stupid crazy things that the IRS is doing right now. There's a lot of people getting final notices for 2021 missing returns or missing payments or whatever that never got any other notices because there was an IRS moratorium on sending out notices for 2020. I know 2021's involved, but I don't know exactly what all of the years that were involved in not getting all of the proper notices because there was a moratorium that was due to COVID, and that moratorium was just lifted about a month or so ago. And there's just been a flood of final notices, intent to levy or seize business property notices that have gone out for missing 2021 returns. And more than likely, these are returns that were either e-filed and we have proof that they were e-filed, they were mailed in, and we have notes that they were mailed in. But the IRS destroyed them. There was an article, a news story that went out, that came out in 21 or early 22. I forget exactly the time frame that it was, where the IRS was so behind to clear some of the backlog, they destroyed quote unquote informational returns only, which I know I said at the time, and it's since been confirmed, especially by this recent rash of notices that the IRS is sending out, where they're like, we didn't receive your return. And, there's some people that if they mailed in a check, the check was cashed, that it was deposited, the IRS has it, it left the business owner's bank account successfully, but it was misapplied. Or I've done more check traces from money that the IRS deposited than I have ever done in my entire life. I've done more of those check traces in the last 6 months. So that's one issue. The other issue is now the IRS is realizing, oh, well, maybe we destroyed more than just informational returns. So they're sending out these nasty letters saying that you didn't submit this stuff on time, or you didn't submit it at all. And then you're getting penalty letters, and like, they're not even telling you what the penalty is. They're just saying that you owe X amount of dollars in penalties, and they intend to levy your bank account or seize business property, which are very scary letters for business owners to get. So we've been trying to proactively reach out and let all of our regular payroll clients know, and I put out in our newsletter in the last couple of weeks the information to hopefully let other accountants be aware that this is something that's going on, and so that we can try to be proactive. And so if one of your clients gets these letters from the IRS saying that they didn't send a return is missing or whatever, all you have to do is go back and reprint the return and write second submission across the top. And if it's a return that says, it's for the business owner use only, because a lot of the payroll software will have that verbiage, like do not mail on it, still mail it and see what happens and write second submission. And sometimes, like, I'll even write, e-filed on whatever date. And then you've got that proof. Sometimes I'll even send in the if I have an e-file confirmation, I'll submit the e-file confirmation along with the 941 that we're submitting and writing second submission across on the top. And if we need to, you can contact the Taxpayer Stakeholder Liaison and get them involved. And if it's like the last resort is to open a Taxpayer Advocate case for these. I have also opened more Taxpayer Advocate cases this year than I have ever in my entire life, because up until this year, I had never had to open a Taxpayer Advocate case for any of our payroll clients. We have one of the cases that I had to open was we had e-filed the 941 for Q4 2021. No, it was 2022. We had e-filed Q4 941 January 3rd, and the client, it was an S corp owner. They didn't let us know that their payroll had changed, so we had to change their payroll in Q4 to account for the additional bonus that they paid each other. And we redid their W-2. We got everything done. And in we held on to the 941X until I want to say it was the middle of March, so that it would give the IRS time to process the e-filed return. And then they got a rejection letter when we mailed in the 941X, because they still hadn't processed the e-filed 941. That 941 for Q4 of 2022 that was e-filed January 3rd of 2023 did not get processed with the IRS until August 26th of this year. And it only got processed because I opened a Taxpayer Advocate case. So this long ramble is to let everybody know that the IRS is now catching up with them destroying all of these returns that were either mailed in or e-filed. And they're sending out the intent to levy or seize business property. And that, well, normally is not the first notice. It's usually the first notice that the client will pay attention to. But in a lot of cases, it is the first notice that the clients are getting. So be aware of that and know that the process to resolve it is to call the IRS, put a hold on the account, let them know that you're resubmitting the return, and then hopefully they'll process it and the case will resolve itself. But always, keep an eye on it and make sure that it does get resolved. And unfortunately, most of the time, this is out of scope work So you will want to charge your client for it. And what you charge your client to keep an eye on this will vary. But I love flat fees. I love value pricing, but this is an instance where I would recommend to charge hourly, because it could take one phone call. It could take 10. It could take, just submitting the form and everything processes and resolves itself. It could involve getting the taxpayer stakeholder liaison involved, or even the taxpayer advocate involved. So I love flat fee. I love value pricing, but in this case, I recommend doing hourly pricing.